It might appear complicated. It's not complicated, really. It comes down to recognizing what your values are and what you want, and more importantly, realizing why that isn't happening already in your life. There's a position that the majority of us we will start in, and that definitely provides this level of frustration, or this element that makes it stressful enough that we know we can't stay the same, but also comfortable enough that it's easy to procrastinate. And the goal is to recognize that the stress of changing and doing something about it with discipline and focus, and I'm really, really going after it, is way less painful than the long-term compounding results of continuously procrastinating and not changing. So it does come down to these main factors that most people are looking for: money and peace, which together you could say generates freedom, money and peace. You could argue, well, and this is actually a strong argument. I actually remember this. I went around London and we was helping with homeless people. And I remember specifically thinking, if you're good in your spirit, right? If you're good in your spirit and you're not under any immediate danger, okay, you're on the street. Yeah, you're on the street, but you're not under any immediate danger. And there's levels to this, right? There's levels to this. I remember speaking to this one guy who was getting a lot of money. Like, he was in this particular spot where a lot of people was able to give him money. He must have intelligently picked a place with good foot traffic, but also not too good where everyone's walking past you. And I just remember thinking, some of the stresses in my life were worse than being on the street at the time. And if it wasn't for me being more concerned about my relationship and more concerned for Amy, in this case, particularly around me, I wouldn't have aimed for it, but I at least wouldn't have been scared. I wouldn't have been concerned about living on the street. And here's why. Because if you're living on the street, then essentially it's like, oh, I can't really get any worse than this. Everyone's working so hard. Everyone works so hard to pay bills and maintain shelter, right? Put it simply, people need to maintain bills and have shelter. Everything else you could see as luxury, right? Bills would be the basics of food, water, energy, even in this case, internet connection, right? It's not complicated, but there is a vast amount of people that I would say that are living a way more stressful life than someone that actually might be on the street, that doesn't have any of those concerns, has their own problems, that doesn't have any of those concerns. And even just short term, that could be quite liberating. Maybe a crazy thought, but you don't have to live on the street to feel that. You can begin, even if it's just 5 minutes, you could begin with the smallest amount. You actually begin exactly where you're able to begin. You actually begin exactly where you're at. You start at a different position depending on where you're starting. There isn't a cookie cutter, one size fits all for everyone. How does everyone just all of a sudden facilitate the process to live the dream and have freedom? You can't just do that. And what's never said enough, because it's borderline impossible, what's never said enough in the marketing side of things of what happens online, is the importance of understanding who your client is. So if something's coming out in marketing, something's being sold, something's being offered as a service, many great services, many things are being sold. It's important you do understand the importance to invest in yourself. But we're cloaking everything in marketing. And you've still got this large percentage, I would say 90% of people that are marketing, just through the nature of it, you can't specify who you're working with. You can't specify who you're dealing with. You have to make general statements. You have to give prime examples of what has happened. And when you start to go through the process, if you've ever made an investment in yourself, if you've ever thought, I'm going to do something about this now, I'm not going to sit here and keep thinking about it. I'm going to sit here and keep fucking talking about it. I'm going to go and do something about it. Then you'll know what that looks like when you make an investment in yourself. You'll know what it looks like if you've made an investment in yourself, like I did, and it's dramatically changed your life. You know what you had to do. If you made an investment in yourself and it barely did anything, you know what typically happens. Now, here's my point. There is a different starting point for everyone, and a lot of people aren't getting started because they don't know where that is for them. They don't know what that looks like. And that would be fair enough, right? Because there's so much to compare to. There's so much to compare to. Well, this person, I saw that they did, they started all of a sudden one business and now they're doing 100K a month. Like, where is realistically and in a grounded sense, where are most people at that want to get started with these three things, right? I want to be able to work anywhere. I need location freedom. I can't be stuck in this environment anymore. Great. That's the first thing, right? You know you don't want that anymore. Second thing, I would really love to find out how people are making sometimes substantial amounts of money online through a laptop. How are we doing that? So I want location freedom, yes, but I don't just want to be able to travel. I want to know like how I get past the plateau of a 9-to-5 job. How do I get past trading time for energy? I was having a conversation with a friend the other day actually that was hilarious. Hilarious when he spoke it out, right? I would need to work 40,000 hours in order for me to hit my income goal. Something along those lines, he was saying. I need to work 40,000 hours. And he just says, it's not going to happen. So he actually came to me asking, Charlie, what's the best thing that I can do? And quite frankly, for him, everyone's in a different situation. That's another thing that's important to know. You need to know exactly where you are at, what your starting point looks like. But for him specifically, I had to be careful sharing too much here. Like, I don't want to share too much openly in the public. A lot of that is just happening in the mailing list. I'm revealing everything in the mailing list. But one thing I did say to him is like, you wanting to do writing, for example, was the case. So you wanted to do writing and run a business from writing is an amazing idea. It's a phenomenal idea. But you would have to work really, really hard, and this is where the third point comes in. You would have to work really, really hard to create your own opportunity. And it's not impossible. It's not impossible. You can do that. But you'd be way better off. You've got so much more to gain, and it happens faster and it will compound for you. If instead of you trying to run your own business, you just work for someone else's. But instead of you being fixed in one location and feeling stuck and feeling like you're in a position where you're plateaued, use it as a stepping stone to find a company that will hire you to write, and they will hire you remotely. So you could be working for a company that operates on the other side of the earth, but you're still working for a company that will pay you to write. And two things are happening. You're getting paid much faster and immediately because you're exchanging your time and energy for a cash flowing business that needs you. They're already earning cash, so you get some of their money. Then you're also getting the experience of what they're doing to make money from forms of writing. And it sounds simple. It sounds very simple when I say that. But if someone doesn't say that to you or have that conversation with you in a personal way, you could quite literally spend years fucking around, not knowing what to do and really, really trying hard. And why do I know that? Because that individual was me. I did everything as an entrepreneur with all the love. Like, you wouldn't match me. You wouldn't get close to matching me. I'm just going to say that, yeah? You ain't coming close to matching my passion, my love, my focus, my tenacity towards my work and the businesses that I run. Particularly if you followed me, you mostly would have interacted with things like The Only Kitchen or the Secret Food Club when I run the food businesses. But you know that I lived and breathed those businesses. But here was the problem. I was never making a lot of money from it. I was never really, at some points, making fucking any money. We was in loss at certain points. But I was grinding so hard, and what changed? I was trying to do everything myself. And then I went from project to project, again, trying to do everything myself. And I kept finding myself in this spiral of like, why is it that I'm willing to work hard? I'm more focused. I get great reviews on what I do, but I just don't have enough customers. I don't have the bandwidth to continue to expand and scale this. And then it was a light bulb moment. Oh, I'm doing everything. Everything that I try to do to pursue more freedom financially, I'm working my ass off to build something from the ground with no initial cash flow coming in. This is just what I hope pays everything for me to live. Now, I haven't got any backups. I'm all in, which, for the record, that will make me unbelievable amounts of wealth and fortune in my lifetime, because that experience is more valuable than anything else. That experience is more valuable. In the short term, I was fucking broke, not doing anything, and stuck in the same position again. I kept looping in the same position. So the light bulb was, I needed to find an opportunity where I had to do way less, have it way more specialized and focused to one specific role, do that with a company that I connected with culturally, I aligned with values and principles, so it didn't feel like I was selling my soul, and then just work for them. Because they're already doing 100K a month. They're already doing more than that. They're already making cash, they're marketing, they're running operations, they're doing this, and I have to just fight the urge to not control it all and sink into my role of what my role was. And that was the moment everything started to change. It really started to click. That was particularly my path. And there's a lot of people that are doing what I was doing, and they are just a few decisions and elements of sniper-like focus away from your work actually making a difference now. It's not just about working hard, it's about working precisely. It's about knowing what to focus on. A lot of people don't know what to do because, quite honestly, they've never had a conversation with someone that can help ask the right questions so you can access the clarity, gives you the light bulb, so you know where you're going on your path. You literally find a lighthouse, yeah? Find someone that acts as a lighthouse for you, right? You're steering the ship, yeah? You're responsible for everything. A lighthouse just says, hey, avoid rocks, there's your shoreline, right? Find a lighthouse. And if you can, you will shave years of hard work, mistake, and actually, because here's the truth, you will have to. It's impossible, doesn't matter what anyone says, it's impossible for you to really make a difference in yourself if you don't invest. You have to invest. Doesn't have to be a lot, doesn't have to be thousands, doesn't have to be something super high ticket, but you have to invest because you have to break through the barrier in yourself that you put value into something first so you can take value from it. And secondly, it's a charge. When you're being charged, you're energized to do something more about it. That is what facilitates more accountability and actually more reality of change. So you have to start somewhere. And if that is the one message or meaning of this video, which is find a lighthouse, find what you specifically are good at, get someone to help you understand that, and maybe just help them how can I say this better? There's a company looking for you. There's a business out there that's looking for you that will pay you. They will allow you to work remote. And there'll probably be a group of people that you wouldn't mind hanging out with. And if you can get that, that is an amazing start point. That is a tremendous starting point, of which is already a dream for so many people that are stuck in jobs that they fucking hate. They think that Sandra in the office is a right bitch, and they're sucking on Greg's sausage rolls every lunch, thinking, I can't keep doing this. There's always a route. There's always a path. Of which, I don't know whether to tell you here right now. Or keep it for the mailing list.